Once there was a young boy who had problems controlling his anger. When he got angry, he would kick and scream and say the first thing that came to mind, hurting people. One day, his father gifted him a hammer and a bundle of nails and said, "Whenever you get mad, hammer a nail into the backyard fence." In the first days, the boy used up half the nails. Over the next weeks, he used up fewer and fewer nails until his temper was under control. Then, his father asked the young boy to remove a nail for each day he didn't lose his temper. On the day when the boy removed his last nail, his father told him, "You have done good, boy, but can you see all those holes in the wall? The fence is never going to be the same. Likewise, when you say mean things in anger, you will leave a scar in other people's feelings." We all know what anger is, and we all experience it from time to time. We had a tough day, and something small pushes us off the edge, and we lose our minds. We become overwhelmed with emotion and filled with rage. Acting out of impulse feels good in the moment. Screaming at the driver in front of you or yelling at the cashier seems fair. After all, they did something terribly wrong to upset you, and you had to teach them a lesson and show them they were in the wrong to get respected. You don't think much of it until one day you might realize how you are ruining your own life with anger. Now, anger is one of our basic emotions, alongside joy, sadness, surprise, and fear. Anger is neither good nor bad. In fact, this feeling tells us we need to take action to put something right. It gives us strength and energy, and motivates us to act. Therefore, there's absolutely nothing wrong with feeling angry. What matters is how you cope with and express your anger. The instinctive, natural way to express it is to respond aggressively. And while you may not see the damage that it does, this can leave irreparable wounds that can eventually break you and the people around you. A lot of people think that our expression of anger hurts others, and it does. But it hurts ourselves the most, and it is so much harder to see and heal this damage. This is because expressing our anger in inappropriate ways leads others to emotionally retreat from us. If you have ever been in a car accident, you know that it feels really scary and unexpected. Oftentimes, getting back into a car after the traumatic incident feels terrifying, and you might find it hard to trust the other cars on the road, even if you've told yourself you're likely not going to crash again anytime soon. Acting out of anger is kind of like this. When you hit people around you with your anger, they will be very cautious around you, waiting for another metaphorical crash, no matter how much they love you. This is why anger can ruin the relationships with your loved ones. If you have a hot temper, you may feel like it's out of your hands, but that's not true. You have more control over your anger than you think, and you can learn to express your emotions without hurting others and keep your temper from hijacking your life. This doesn't mean that you should suppress your anger and never get angry. That's not a healthy goal. You should, however, learn to understand the message behind the emotion and express it in a healthy way without losing control. The healthiest way of expressing your angry feelings is in an assertive but not aggressive manner. To do this, you have to learn how to make clear what your needs are and how to get them met without hurting others. For instance, one of the simplest ways to keep anger at bay is to count to 10, or 100 if you need to. While this seems a pretty basic piece of advice, it works. Thinking about something other than what's making you upset for a few seconds can help you avoid exploding. In fact, in the heat of the moment, it's easy to jump to the wrong conclusions, or say something you'll regret later. So counting to 10 gives you a chance to gather yourself and your thoughts before you do anything else. Then, as soon as you're thinking clearly, State your concerns and needs clearly and directly, in an assertive but non-confrontational way, without hurting others. And if you need to step away to cool down before continuing the conversation, make a promise to come back later to finish the discussion. Use this time to change the way you think about the situation. When you're angry, it's easy to feel like things are worse than they really are. What you can do is replacing these thoughts with more rational ones. For instance, instead of repeatedly thinking that everything is ruined, you could tell yourself that, while the situation is frustrating, it's not the end of the world, and getting angry is not going to fix it anyhow. And when you get back to the discussion, try changing the way you speak about the situation. You can communicate your feelings without being verbally or physically abusive. Avoid words like never or always when talking about yourself or others. Statements like this never works or you're always doing this make you feel your anger is justified, and they also alienate people who might otherwise be willing to work with you on a solution. And last, remember that lashing out is very often counterproductive. You might feel that your anger is justified and that you need to show your fury to get respect. But the truth is, that anger is much more likely to have a negative impact on the way people see you. Anger will also impair your judgment and get in the way of success because it makes it hard for others to trust you, speak honestly, or feel comfortable around you. Anger makes the person you are dealing with defensive, and you are ultimately less likely to get what you want. This is why, 9 times out of 10, an argument ends with each of the contestants more firmly convinced than ever that he is absolutely right. But even if screaming or punching the table did make you win the argument, you will more often than not feel miserable afterwards, because deep down, you know that you made the other person feel bad and they now resent you for this. This is particularly true if on the receiving end of your anger there was a loved one. You see, when you win at the expense of a loved one, you cannot be happy. You both lose. Instead, maintaining and strengthening the relationship, rather than winning the argument, should always be your first priority. So remember that anger can cause lasting scars in the people you love most, and get in the way of friendships and work relationships. That is why controlling your angry responses will invariably make you happier and more successful in the long run. So do make it a priority to respond calmly to situations that would normally trigger your anger. For now, thanks for watching High Living, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and click the subscribe button for more great tips on how to level up your life.